The Commission on Elections decided to deploy Smartmatic PCOS machines for the 2016 national elections. Smartmatic has conducted the country's automated elections in 2010 and 2013, and yet certain quarters have raised concerns on its performance. And tonight we are joined by Mr. Ramon Casiple, one of the country's most respected political strategists. Good evening, sir, and welcome to NewsLife.
Good evening and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, sir. Sir, to start us off, now how would you assess the performance of Smartmatic PCOS machines in the 2010 and 2013 elections?
Well, being up close and personal in 2010, because I was an alternate member of the Advisory Council then, we don't have an idea how the machines will perform, how the company will do its thing, and so on and so forth. But after that election, we were satisfied in the sense that that election is a credible election. Nobody questioned it, particularly at the national level. And we basically erased the problem that was the questionable presidency of Mrs. Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo. Now, in 2013, there were still questions, but basically these are the same questions. And I'm not surprised that even in the 2016, there will still be the same questions.
So you think COMELEC made the right decision in continuing on this path?
Well, they can only react actually to the recommendation of the Advisory Council. That's the law. And the Advisory Council in this particular upcoming election recommended the use of the PCOS machine of the Smartmatic company.
Now, what are the main issues that some of the quarters are raising in terms of how the PCOS machines work? Some say it can be manipulated in favor of certain candidates. Is that true?
If you're talking theoretically, yes, it can be manipulated. But if you compare it to manual elections, it's far, far different.
Going back to, you're saying the manual elections, some people are clamoring actually to go back to the manual elections. Do you think that's the right thing to do?
They may want to go back, the people don't want it. You don't want to have the dagdag bawas back in our vocabulary. Precisely, that's why we made the transition to automation.
So you're saying in some sense there is a semblance of really credibility when we use this PCOS machine?
Yeah, I think the results of the 2010 election says that the people have already accepted the system. It's a question of making sure that the system still works as planned, and as accurate, as secure, and of course fast.
Now, sir, elections is coming close. We're at 2015, 2016, the elections will happen now. How do you see this panning out right now in terms of what's happening right now? We have those leading in the surveys, but some of them have a lot of controversy surrounding them. Some don't even want, are saying they don't want to run. So how do you see this panning out? Who do you think would be the front runners?
Well, that's a question that can only be answered during the campaign in 2016 itself. But of course, everybody knows that ever since Vice President Binay made an announcement in 2012 that he would run, practically that says that we should campaign starting as early as what Vice President Binay did.
So
and we are now in the midst of it. The irony is that up to now, basically only a very few people have said that they will run for presidency. That includes, of course, Vice President Binay, Senator Cayetano, Senator Revilla. But the ones who are expected to go up in a serious manner against Vice President Binay have not yet made any announcement to the public to that effect.
But in your current analysis of what's happening now, how do you see the atmosphere and everything starting from today up until the time of elections? How do you see this?
Well, it can
only going to be very exciting. It's going to be totally different.
Yeah. We are already in the midst of the drama here.
So do you think there's going to be a lot more drama, a lot of more controversy going to happen this year?
2015 certainly is a year, because it's the year that people will make that crucial decision to run. This is the year when opponents will really try to prevent you from becoming a serious opponent. And basically, you have all this wheeling and dealing to get allies, to get the network, to get the money, and so on and so forth.
And finally, sir, now looking at the voters, those who will be voting in 2016, now, what would be your advice to them and also the general public on how we can actually be more active and in terms of monitoring and in terms of making the right decision come 2016, starting from now, doing research and all that, so that we actually make the right decision?
Well, the requirements are different for voters and for media or anybody else. Voters doesn't need to think about it until, of course, a few months or a few weeks before the election. So the campaign, the formal campaign is important.
So still too early to say.
Yeah. But for the media, for all others, of course, the key here is news, information, and so on.
Okay. On that note, thank you very much for joining us here tonight at NewsLife. That was Mr. Ramon Casiple, one of the country's top political analysts. Thank you, sir.